She's got a point. She's an icon. She's a legend. And she is the moment. Now, come on now.
Hi everyone, it's Dom Griffin, your favorite film critic here, and you're watching the Armchair Auteur. This is an ongoing video series I do where we talk about new movies, old movies, screenplay analysis, television series reviews, that sort of thing. So if you like movies and you like movie adjacent popular culture and you like to see somebody pick those things apart, then you're in the right place and you should consider subscribing. Today we are reviewing the new movie M3GAN. It's January, Happy New Year, and I just got back from my first screening of the year. And in years past, I like to joke a lot when I go to see the first movie I'm going to review of the year. I like to go, the first movie of the year is also like the best movie of the year. And I'm usually like kidding, because a lot of times the first movie I watch of the year is trash. Like last year, my first movie of the year was a movie called The 355, which is a dog shit action movie starring Jessica Chastain and a bunch of other actresses who all deserve better. I know it's kind of corny, but I'm the same guy that loves telling people I'll see you next year when I see them on December 30th. But this is the first January since COVID, I think, where we're actually getting like a real, genuine, go fuck yourself January, February dump season. It's the time of the year where we get all of the movies from studios that aren't big enough to be summer blockbusters, that aren't, you know, arty enough to be award season contenders, that aren't like thrilling enough to be like fall sleeper horror hits. It's where every movie that kind of doesn't have like a good label or a good sense just ends up. And oftentimes those movies are bad. I mean, that's true. But also it's the time of year where you get movies like this.
We're getting off this island.
And I, for one, couldn't be happier that we're here, because a really good steady diet for cinephiles should include movies like Plane. Those movies that I kind of think are like the bread and butter of healthy viewing habits. Ever since the trailer dropped, I've been calling M3GAN the best movie of 2023, because I was obsessed both with its deceptively simple premise and its extremely chaotic tone. With a powerful marketing campaign from the same folks who worked on the runaway hit horror film Smile, it would be very possible for M3GAN to be an empty meme machine with no real substance, and that would have been unfortunate. Now, if you know me, you know I love bits, and the dedicated act of committing myself to them. So if M3GAN was a terrible movie, there's a really good chance I would just lie to you all and say that it was really good, because that's fun. Sometimes, ironically, liking something is very entertaining, and I'm a wild card. But very luckily, M3GAN actually rules. Alongside Avatar: The Way of Water, it's one of the most enjoyable theatrical experiences I have had in forever. And just like with Hemi Cameron, M3GAN feels like it was made by creatives who perfectly understand the audience they've pitched to and how best to manipulate them both for laughs and for scares. James Wan cooked up the idea as a possible Conjuring verse flick with Malignant screenwriter Akela Cooper, who has final script credit here, and based on that movie and this one, we need to protect her at all costs. When I saw Malignant last year, I became briefly obsessed with watching Wan unleash all this pent-up, unhinged energy within a movie none of us could have conceived was coming between his two Aquaman flicks. But here, with Cooper on the script and director Gerard Johnstone at the helm, I think M3GAN ups the ante. If you haven't been obsessed with M3GAN like the rest of us, the movie is about a young girl named Katie who loses her parents in a car accident and has to live with her Aunt Gemma, played by Allison Williams of Girls and Get Out fame. Gemma is a roboticist at a toy company who creates this android doll designed to be the ultimate companion for a child. But as M3GAN bonds further with Katie, providing her love and attention she hasn't received since her parents died, M3GAN becomes an unexpected threat. Now, there's the obvious comparisons to Child's Play, what with the killer doll aspect, and with Chucky himself being kind of like a predecessor to M3GAN. As much as this is a horror film, it functions much more as a black comedy. Like, M3GAN at its core is like a Black Mirror episode about iPad kids and about the dangers of relying on technology too heavily for parents, and the way that technology in general distances us from our loved ones, us from our friends and family, us from like society. But unlike that often overbearing television series, M3GAN works well because it doesn't take its very broad, very obvious metaphor too seriously. There's a tongue-in-cheek aspect to it, like a kind of winking. It allows that very obvious metaphor to remain fresh and lively. From the moment Katie comes to stay with Gemma, we see that Gemma lives a life that is very technology heavy. Like, she is constantly working. She doesn't have a lot of friends or family or anything. She's not very close with Katie's mother, the rest of her family. And throughout their first scenes together, technology is constantly in the way. There's a scene where Katie asks Gemma to read her a book, and she doesn't have any books, any children's books in the house. I mean, why would she, I guess? So she offers to download an ebook. And she sits awkwardly on the bed with her, and she has to wait for the ebook app on her phone to update. It's very obvious, you know, hey, technology bad, you know, critique piece, but it actually plays really well. Every time there's a scene of Gemma, like, staring at her phone, responding to work emails, while Katie's just sitting there, orphaned and alone, you really sense how much distance there is between them, and how the only way Gemma knows how to bridge it is with more technology, by trying to create, like, this robot to fill the void of friendship and motherhood in a way that she can't. And so, of course, M3GAN, like all good robot stories, gains a kind of sentience, becomes super smart, becomes, you know, untethered, and becomes singularly dedicated to protecting Katie at all costs, and sometimes those costs involve her murdering animals and small children. It's a real crude extrapolation of the concern for screen time, something the movie actually very, very blatantly addresses. The idea that, like, the things that we leave our children with to distract them and entertain them when we're busy can just completely overtake their lives. At one point, Katie turns into, like, literally like a dope fiend, just begging for, like, 10 more minutes to spend with M3GAN. And it really just drives that whole metaphor home. And, like, the themes of technology and the dangers they're in and stuff are, like, very, very obvious, very, very surface level. But they're executed and dispensed with so shrewdly and just so comically. Like, it's very much a movie that's like, we're not going to do the thing that all modern horror does, where we, like, beat you over the head with, you know, messages about trauma and whatever the themes are. There's themes, but, like, it's all very, we're all here to have a bit of a laugh. You know, it's not too serious. It's a movie that's constantly winking, and not in, like, a, you know, pokey, referencey kind of way. Just in a way where they found this very dialed-in tone that is harrowing at times and, like, genuinely thrilling, and there's some really good scares in the movie, but also it's funny. It's just really funny. It's essentially the fear of, like, what if Siri came out of your child's iPad and told you it was a better mother than you were? Only Siri's in, like, a doll's body and, like, dances and, like, spontaneously sings pop music and knows a bunch of facts about science. I don't know. It's look, you didn't come to see M3GAN or my review of M3GAN because you were concerned about the movie's thematic content. No, you want to see M3GAN because you want to see M3GAN. You want to see this messy horror icon in the making finally make her debut and just run away with the whole movie. There's a lot of funny stuff in the movie before we ever actually meet M3GAN. There's some really killer parodies of, like, modern toy commercials and stuff that really all have, like, this specific sort of tone.
Can I play with it?
How many pounds are you?
I think 54 pounds.
Ooh. Sorry, hon. Being under 60 lbs and holding a Tammy Crafts doll is like smoking 5 Macanudo cigars a day.
That's a lot.
No.
Yeah, it's a good way to decompress.
But then once she actually shows up, like, you can't stop watching her and wanting to see what she's going to do next. She's probably the most interesting new horror character we've had in forever. Like, I was hooting, I was hollering, I was grabbing on my hair, I was popping out of my seat the whole time. Like, movie's 100 minutes flat. Every minute of the movie, I was engaged, I was transfixed, I was in awe. If there's any real criticism to be had of the movie, it's that the movie has such sort of heavy-handed critique of millennial parents specifically, and like, just sort of almost an open hatred for them. And as a result, it makes it really hard to ever root against M3GAN. Like, no matter how far M3GAN goes in the movie, you're still kind of, like, on her side because, like, she kind of makes sense. And this isn't just a simple thing like, you know, I'm a guy that cheers for the heels or whatever. Like, anyone that's going to go see this movie is going to come out of it wanting M3GAN to return, wanting M3GAN sequels, wanting to see what M3GAN does next, whatever that may be. You know, my friend Julian, after the screening, surmised that we might get a M3GAN sequel where M3GAN gets a face turn and comes back and has to fight, like, an evil M3GAN doll who's, like, a brunette, kind of like T2. You know, there's all sorts of ways you can take it. This movie has such a uniquely unhinged and chaotic tone that you could go anywhere with it. Like, there's just, the sky is the limit. And I think Akela Cooper is, like, a screenwriter to watch. I think she actually was one of Variety's, like, 10 screenwriters to watch last year because of Malignant. But, like, between that movie and this, she is, like, dialed into something very unique, very special, and I think very palatable to modern audiences in a way where, like, I feel like we haven't even seen, like, the tip of the iceberg of what she's capable of. Like, I can see whatever the sequel to M3GAN is. I hope they're, like, already shooting it secretly or something because they knew it was going to be a banger. Whatever that's going to be, it's going to be, like, the thing to watch for. Like, I am so into this movie, and I think everyone's going to be. I think that's the thing. It's like, in the dead of January, you can kind of release anything, and it'll seem pretty good, even if it's, like, kind of bad. But M3GAN's not like that. Like, it's actually a really good movie. It's hard to like, fine-tune a movie like this between horror and comedy so well. It's not an easy task. Like, Barbarian last year, it was, like, pretty close, but this, I think, is even above that. Like, it's so so sharp. I think M3GAN's about to be like an insatiable craze. You see when people have been like fantasy booking Benoit Blanc into stuff because of Glass Onion, like Benoit Blanc hanging out the Muppets, or Benoit Blanc crossing over with like Sherlock Holmes, or Benoit Blanc teaming up with Medea. I think people are just going to want to see M3GAN cross over with all sorts of things. But I hope that they don't just do that. I hope we get a couple of M3GAN sequels that are just M3GAN, because I want to see how far they can take this universe they've created before they have to introduce other universes, as the IP-thirsty status quo of Hollywood requires. But M3GAN's about to take the world by storm. Is there an instance of a movie creation that is such naked marketing, such obvious ploy to make a meme, to make like a thing that's so forced and so clearly like designed to be this way, but it doesn't feel like, you don't feel the hand guiding you towards it. It feels organic, even though we know it's not. Just like M3GAN the doll within this movie. We're less than a week into 2023, and I'm not sure we're going to see a movie better than M3GAN this year. I don't know if it's possible. I think it's about to make Universal Studios more money than Oppenheimer. So those are my feelings about M3GAN. Obviously, I'm going to tell you to watch the movie. If you're not going to, I don't even know why you clicked on it in the first place. You gotta go see M3GAN this weekend. It's the thing to do. You don't want to miss out on the conversation surrounding M3GAN. The only way I'm going to accept you not going to see M3GAN this weekend is if you're going to go see Avatar: The Way of Water a second, third, or fourth time. 1.5 billion in 21 days. You know, we got to keep it going. But yeah, see M3GAN, please. It's fantastic. Akela Cooper is an icon. Akela Cooper, you'll always be famous, and hopefully always getting your scripts greenlit. Maybe get to go into directing next. I don't know. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any thoughts about the film or questions about M3GAN, put them in the comments below. I will respond to them when I have time. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. Just join, hit the little notification thing so you always know when I'm putting out videos. We'll have something new out relatively soon, I think. I don't know if I'm going to get through a review plane like I want to, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have time, but we'll see. We'll try. Everyone's doing well, staying safe, being good to yourselves and each other. I will see you in the next video. Bye.